start this afternoon here at Camden Yards. And take a look at the Boston Red Sox Papa John's lineup. A little different look today. Johnny Damon, he'll be in center field. He'll lead it off. Todd Walker with a home run last night. He'll hit in the second spot down at second base. And Omar Garcia-Pera doing the shortstopping. He'll be in the third spot. Manny Ramirez. You can see great numbers against Jason Johnson. He'll play left field and hit fourth. David Ortiz hitting fifth down at first base. Jeremy Giambi, the younger brother of Jason Giambi, he'll be the DH. Bill Miller will be the third baseman, hitting seventh. Trot Nixon in the eighth spot, and Jason Varitek off to a great start. So let's take a look at Jason Johnson as he faces Johnny Damon. And there's a first pitch strike.
Nothing like getting ahead on the first pitch of the ball game. Fastball outside part of the plate, and all pitchers can be much more effective when they pound the strike zone.
Yeah, Jason Johnson 5-14 in the 2002 season. All kinds of physical problems. There's another good two-seamer, but quickly ahead 0-2. Probably pitched better than that record indicated.
Well, he's got good memories of this Red Sox ball club. He pitched a good game last September 21st when 8 innings allowed 3 runs. Unfortunately, it was a 3-0 loss.
Curve ball. And Johnny Damon fights it down the line. Foul. Johnny Damon last night. Well, Dame's really kind of doing what he can do so well. I mean, he's able to score runs, 5 runs in 5 games already. And that ball ripped down the right field line, and it's going to hook foul.
Well, Damon misses extra bases just by a couple of feet down in the right field corner. Let's take a look at the Orioles defense. It's Surhoff, Matthews, and Gibbons in the outfield. Tony Batista and Davy Cruz on the left side. Jerry Hairston and Jeff Conine on the right side. Geronimo Hill will do the chores behind the plate.
0-2 pitch. Johnny Damon able to lay off. Bill Walke had a busy night last night at home plate, not calling all those balls and strikes. Also a couple of pretty good calls, but questionable calls at home plate.
Bang, bang plates.
Yeah. 1-2 pitch. Got him on the curveball. Well, Buck, there's no better way, and you just talked about it. Get ahead, and you can throw that curveball. Don't even have to throw it for a strike.
Especially with 2 strikes. When it comes out of your hand, a hitter has a tough time detecting fastball or breaking ball. And you can see it started about belt high and broke down out of the strike zone, and Damon swings over the top of it. You really get hitters in a swing mode when you pound the strike zone with fastballs and breaking balls.
Todd Walker. Home run last night. As he takes the first pitch a little bit outside. Came over from Cincinnati, where he had a pretty good year last year. 42 doubles, hit 1 point shy of 300, 11 home runs, 64 runs driven in. Popped up down the left field line. Long run for Surhoff, and BJ able to corral it for out number 2.
Well, BJ had a long run. Walker being a left-handed hitter. He was over in left center a bit, but into foul ground and makes the catch. Second out. Always good to pitch to the number 3 hitter in the Red Sox lineup with nobody on.
Well, Koufax had a theory where a lot of times if you can get the pitcher out to end an inning, and this third hitter, if you get the first 2 guys out, is going to try to hit home runs instead of doing what he's able to do, which is hit for a high average. And, of course, Garcia-Pera, Nomar stepping in. I mean, he can hit both for power, and he has won 2 batting titles. And we're talking right up there in the high 360s, and 1 year hit 370. 1-1 to Nomar Garcia-Pera.
It's interesting. You talk about Koufax, his theory, and pitchers can really dictate what they do to a hitter depending on how they manage the hitters ahead of them.
1-1 pitch. Curveball in the air to center field, short center field. Matthews is there. So 1-2-3 inning. Jason Johnson quickly setting the pace. Orioles coming up. Well, back at Camden Yards, the Orioles Papa John's lineup. Jerry Hairston, a couple of hits last night. He'll lead it off, play second base. Gary Matthews Jr., also a couple of hits. He'll be in center field. B.J. Surhoff, see right there, 3 for 5 as he gets on the board. First hits of the year. Jeff Conine down at first base. He'll be the cleanup hitter. Jay Gibbons in right field hitting number 5. Tony Batista with a 4-hit night. He'll be down third base. David Segui off the disabled list. In the 7th spot, he'll be the designated hitter today. Davey also a nice night last night. And Geronimo Hill, he'll bat ninth and do the catching. Let's take a look at our Jerry's Toyota defense for the Boston Red Sox.
Manny Ramirez made a great play in left field in the ninth inning with 2 outs when he played the ball off the wall through to the shortstop, Nomar Garcia-Parra, who in turn relayed it to Jason Varitek. That saved the game for the Red Sox. Execution of a very defensive fundamental, the relay. Damon and Nixon round out the outfield. Bill Miller gets a start at third base. He played 101 games at third for the Cubs a year ago before he went to San Francisco in a late season trade, and they like his versatility.
Well, he's playing well in on the grass at third. Take the bunt away from Jerry Hairston's going to lead it off for the Orioles. Jerry with an RBI last night, also stole a base. He walked, so on base 3 times, and there are the numbers for Pedro. And that is the lowest ERA in the American League. He led the league in strikeouts. Did not lead it in wins. So we'll see what kind of stuff on a very damp and raw day. Temperature right around 50. Hairston fouling it straight back. And his fastball at 89. And of course, a lot of people, you saw him early last year. They roughed him up. You were managing
Opening
the Blue
day.
Jays. Yep.
Opening day at Fenway, a very, very similar day to this day here in Baltimore. And Blue Jays, we got to him and hit him a little bit, but that doesn't happen very often.
Misses with a changeup, 2-1. Now, they said Pedro had a terrific spring. Now, 2 years ago, or at least last year, opening day, had coming off that arm problems, had to build up all the muscles around the rotator cuff. And you see good numbers for Jerry, 6 for 15. And once again, a pretty good pitch to hit, but his stuff, movement. They always talk about those long fingers. He's able to get the ball out there and get that extra little on it.
And his fingers have an awful lot of unusual bend at the end where they really have a lot of flexibility. But, man, he can finish a fastball as good as anybody. Give it that little extra ride and add 2 or 3 miles an hour at the end.
Well, the 2-2 pitch to Hairston. Once again, fastball popped up down the right field line. Trot Nixon in fair territory, out number 1. Yeah, Pedro, like any good pitcher, I mean, you're going to have to try to get on, and if your speed gets on, maybe play little ball, steal some bases, because if you, at least I don't assume you're going to sit back and have a big inning off him.
No, you don't think so. And you know what else? He's the complete package. He's a good fielder. He holds runners well. He knows the game of baseball. He understands where he is in the lineup, and if it dictates you pitch around the powerful guy in the lineup, he'll go ahead and do that.
Gary Matthews Jr. takes a first pitch strike. Little changeup at 81 miles per hour. Got 3 quality pitches, does Pedro Martinez. And I think you can almost see, you can look at his first start down at Tampa Bay. He has pitched better than anybody else in the Red Sox as far as starting. He only gave up 3 hits, an unearned run, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, but hit 2 batters. So if you get too comfortable, not afraid to pitch inside.
Well, that's always been a trademark of any good pitcher. When he gets a sense somebody's getting comfortable, he'll come inside. And the guys that are most effective are the pitchers that can come inside and throw a strike, because then you put both sides of the plate in the hitter's head.
Another changeup, missing down and away, 3-1.
You talked about his 3 quality pitches. He probably has 3 of the best pitches. His fastball is as good as anybody's because of the movement and location. His breaking ball is as good, and the changeup probably the best from any right-hander in the American League.
And it's amazing, and you get an idea. Even though his fastball at 89, both Hairston and Matthews have had hitter's counts and still haven't quite gotten to the pitch.
Yeah, and you can see a guy that'll throw 98, and he won't have the same kind of results. Guys will have better swings at him.
Full count to Gary Matthews Jr. right down the chute. So strikeout number 1. That fastball at 94.
Pedro Martinez knows that there are certain situations where you reach back for a little extra, and he threw that just to the outer half. Didn't really locate it very effectively, but he had enough on it, and it just caught Gary Matthews Jr. by surprise. And as I say, he has such a great feel for pitching. He knows how to use his weapons.
Nice night for B.J. Surhoff, and that's going to continue. 3 hits last night. So B.J., who said, I finally got to get my uniform dirty last night. Well, let's take a look at what transpired last night. Our Just for Men rejuvenating play of the night. 9th inning, Orioles trying to come back from an 8-3 deficit.
Tony Batista with his 4th hit. 2 outs. B.J. Surhoff gets the go-ahead from Tom Trebleward, and Jason Varitek didn't tag him. That kept the inning alive, and they would go on to get the tying run on first base, but Davy Cruz was thrown out at the plate by Nomar Garcia-Parra.
So Jeff Conine's going to hit with Surhoff at first, 2 outs. First pitch swinging, fouls it straight back. Nice play by a guy well dressed. Looked like he's got an Oakland A hat on. Or no, actually it's just a hat. He's bundled up.
He's an optimist. He's got his sunglasses on.
Well, either that or he had a good time last night. One of the two. Oh, 1 pitch. Hit fouls as Conine slashes it down the right field line. Nice play by the ball girl here at Camden Yards.
You know, I always felt that good hitters like the challenge of facing a guy like Nomar Garcia, or like Pedro Martinez, or anytime you go up against Clemens and Randy Johnson, they have a tendency to really try to raise their concentration level. It's a battle, you know. If you get a hit, you really stand out. If you're making out, you're just a long list of hitters.
Just like everybody else, 0-2. Well, I think the one thing, and you know, we've seen this bullpen. We saw him last night. We've certainly read about the bullpen and the closer by committee that the Red Sox, they did not re-sign Urbina, 40 saves out of 44 opportunities. So the one thing you'd like to do if you're the Orioles, even if you can't quite get to Pedro early, is get the pitch count up.
Yeah, make him throw a lot of pitches. He threw 91 pitches in his first start.
0-2 pitch to Jeff Conine. Fastball misses up and in.
And they have been very prudent with Martinez the last couple of years, making sure that they don't wear him out and extend him. He's had some trouble over the last couple of years with tenderness in his shoulder from time to time. And
can you ever remember a guy winning 20 games and pitching under 200 innings? And that's what he was able to do last year. That's how good he was. Strike 3. I mean, pretty crisp fastball. 92-mile-per-hour heater outside corner. Couple of strikeouts in the first. No score after 1. Jason Johnson with a first pitch strike to Manny Ramirez as Jason starts the second inning here at Camden Yards. And as you can see, no score after 1. 1-2-3 inning for Jason. And Damon Walker and Garcia-Parra down. Manny Ramirez likes to hit off Jason. I would imagine, well, of course, Manny likes to hit off a lot of guys.
Everybody. He's not really particular.
I told him today, I ran into him as he's coming up the hallway from hitting underneath the tunnel. Neither teams took batting practice on the field today because of the drizzle. A curveball fouled away, and I said, boy, you're trying to win a Gold Glove. He goes, why not? I got talent. I said, yeah, now you got to work on your hitting. And he just kind of laughed.
I find him to be very engaging. I have conversation with him. He's got a lot of good things to talk about. He's always been upbeat. And, you know, there was some time when everybody portrayed him as being moody, but I don't think that's the case at all. Kind of a refreshing personality.
Pretty good pitch right here. Tony Batista is going to have to hurry on the wet turf. And that's probably going to be an infield base hit as Hairston backs it up. And just in case Manny made a feint for second base, Hairston tags him.
But Tony Batista's got good hands. His only hope right here is to barehand it and throw all in one motion, and it sails away from Jeff Conine. He's deep to respect Ramirez's power, and a little chopper down the line. It'll go as an infield hit, I'm sure. But not much chance for Tony Batista to glove that one. He had to do or die with a barehanded attempt.
So David Ortiz. You can see the numbers on the year last year with the Minnesota Twins, helping them win their division. David Ortiz working on a 19-game hitting streak. I actually make Manny Ramirez with he had 18 games if you go back in, obviously, into last season because they've only played 5 games. This is the 6th game for the Red Sox. So Manny now, can you break Joe DiMaggio's record over 2 years?
2 years. It'll be the longest in the number of days. But he finished up last year with 13 straight, continues that streak, and he continues it with an infield chopper.
So David Ortiz over from the Twins. arbitration eligible. They didn't want to pay the money they thought after him having a pretty good year. Good fastball right there. And hey, one thing about Jason Johnson, if he can get some run support and be able to get out and have some positive, really feedback, in other words, pitch well and win, he's got a chance to win somewhere between 10 and 15 games. Kind of a freak year last year, working on in between, just on his windup, a little chip fracture of his finger, missed some time.
I don't care who you are, if you're a hitter or a pitcher, and you don't have confidence in your ability, you're not going to have a lot of success. I don't care how talented you are, and everybody needs a little positive feedback. You come out and get off to a good start, and you feel better about your stuff. You feel more confident that you can locate your pitches effectively. How many times do you hear hitters say, all I want to do is get off to a good start? Then you can relax and you can allow your talents to take care of business. Same for pitchers.
Well, you're right about that. I always wondered, I guess, does confidence breed success, or does success breed confidence? And I think it varies from people to people and pitchers to pitchers, players to players, whether you're playing golf or baseball or whatever. Full count. There goes Ramirez as Ortiz fouls it away.
We talk about Manny Ramirez, and he just believes he's going to get a hit when he goes up there, and it doesn't make a difference if he's 0 for 12 or 9 for 10. But, like B.J. Surhoff, he started out the season slow. Mike Hargrove gave him a day off. Comes back with 3 hits last night, gets a hit already today, and all of a sudden he's starting to feel better about his approach at the plate.
Just keeping Ramirez close. Jason Johnson, he can run on him. Not that Ramirez is going to steal a base. 3-2, he's going to be running. Grady Little trying to stay out of the double play. Johnson at 6'7", a long time to deliver the ball. 3-2 pitch again. Looks like a changeup. I wish I had his changeup at 85 when I finished my career.
Well, it's a little bit upstairs, but it is a little bit less than his fastball, and Ortiz was off stride, gets it off the end of the bat, and it was in a good location, but the fact they took so much off of it, he was able to fool Ortiz.
3-2 pitch. Curveball. Should be a double play. Hairston to Davy Cruz. Over to Conine. So the infield hit by Manny Ramirez erased by a pretty good breaking ball from Jason Johnson.
Well, and there's a situation where Johnson can gain some confidence. He makes a good pitch on 3-2 to a tough left-handed hitter. Gets the ground ball right to Jerry Hairston, who flips to Davy Cruz, and he makes quick work around the bag at second. And Manny Ramirez is erased, and David Ortiz hits into the double play.
Now, this Red Sox team, as we look at Jeremy Giambi, started the year last year with Oakland, was traded to Philadelphia, where he played a lot the first half, and then only had like 78 at-bats the second part of the season. Had a pretty good year with 20 home runs. The younger brother of Jason Giambi, who left Oakland and signed with the New York Yankees.
Well, he's better suited to play in the American League. He can DH from time to time. He's not a great defender. He'll play some in the outfield. He has played some first base this spring, but Grady Little doesn't think he's going to use him an awful lot at first base. But he's a hitter. He's a guy that likes to get his pitch and try to turn on him, do some damage.
And one of those high on-base percentage that Theo Epstein, there's a changeup. So he has pretty good eye, pretty good power. Comes in hitting 1 for 15, and I said, I understand you didn't have a great spring. He goes, yeah, but I've been hitting a lot of line drives at people now. I don't think he lacks a lot of confidence when it comes to swinging the bat.
Runs in the family.
Good curveball. I mean, Jason Johnson, what? To Ortiz. 3-2 changeup, 3-2 curveball for the double play. Giambi's looking for a fastball right there, and swooping curveball for a strike. I am sure Ron Jackson, hitting instructor, has duly noted that in all the Red Sox hitters. And then there's a changeup. And Giambi able to stay alive.
The whole thing about Johnson so far in this ball game is how deliberate he is. He appears to be very comfortable in his delivery, and he's making quality pitches, and there's no urgency in his approach whatsoever. He's not trying to establish himself and say, okay, I've got great stuff today. He's making his pitches. Looks like he's really well planned in his approach.
2-2 pitch again. Curveball just a little bit high. Well, the interesting thing about Jason, and I think you'll see this, Buck, and, you know, of course, you managed against him, and you were broadcasting when he first came up with these Orioles. Take another look at your Ford. You make the call. The only guy that matters, though, is John Hirschbeck, who's doing the umpiring behind the plate. If Jason works as hard as anybody to get that windup where he wants it to be, as Giambi shows you what he can do and takes ball 4. I mean, he does his shadow work, and I mean, constantly at 6'7", always trying to maintain what can be a difficult windup to reproduce. And you always talk about, you know, in a golf swing, you want to be able to, you know, under pressure, be able to produce the same swing. Well, that's what Jason has tried to do the last 3-4 years.
And that's what Pedro Martinez does so effectively, is just repeats the delivery for 90 to 100 pitches during the course of his ball game.
Bill Miller from the left side here, and he's going to take the first pitch, ball 1. Now, I've heard a lot about Bill Miller. It's spelled like it would be Bill Mueller, M-U-E-L-L-E-R. In fact, Jeremy Giambi said, you mean Bill Mueller? And I said, no, I think they pronounce it Miller. But you've seen him in the National League. Apparently good glove and had some pretty good offensive years.
He's a grinder. He started out with the Giants, and then he went to Chicago for a while. And last year in September, Dusty Baker felt a need for some more depth on his team in San Francisco, and they picked up Miller. And Grady Little likes his versatility, the fact he can play third, he can play a little first. He might even use him in the outfield in an emergency situation.
1-1 pitch. Popped up down the left field line. Going to be a tough play, except here comes B.J. Surhoff. Nice running play. Johnson scoreless through 2 innings. Orioles coming up here in Camden Yards. Congratulations to Tiffany Ballard. Jake Gibbons going to try to get it going for the Orioles. Jason Johnson has shut out the Red Sox through the first 2 innings. Big swing, fouled back. Jay Gibbons working on a 4-game hit streak, 1 for 5 last evening, as the Orioles lost it 8-7 with a furious comeback in the 9th, as they got 6 hits.
Take a look at the defense, how they are spread out. Respect Gibbons' ability to hit the ball all over the place. And that's a great sign for a young hitter. You can see the outfielders are just spread out all over. There's a lot of room in the gaps. You have an opportunity to get base hits everywhere. A lot of young hitters come up and they think, pull, pull, pull. I'm just going to hit home runs and make a name for myself. Gibbons has a good approach to use the whole field.
And he's able to take that changeup and flick it foul. Well, the thing that impressed me is, you know, last year playing with that, coming off that the Hammond injury to his right wrist, and the stitches and the sutures irritating the nerve and whatever, is that he was able to battle through all what must have been a lot of pain, and still only struck out 66 times. So obviously against Pedro, a little different story, but 490 at bats for a young player, only 66 strikeouts. That tells me able to make contact and maybe healthy and even going to get better this year.
Well, and it's a very determined approach that he takes to the plate. This was a fastball with just a little bit of movement, 88 miles an hour, and it wasn't one of his best fastballs, but he locates it so effectively, and he's got such an easy delivery that the ball has a tendency to jump on you.
Well, he always talks about throwing north to south, and here's Tony Batista, who had a terrific night last night. 4 hits on the evening, and as you mentioned, 3 lifetime home runs against Pedro Martinez. But Pedro knows him. Both of them from the Dominican Republic. He knows Tony likes him. I don't think he didn't watch last night's game. As he skies it to right field, Todd Walker going to get called off by Troc Nixon. And you know, it's almost, Buck, if you look at Pedro, he's saying, well, he'll hit my fastball. You got 4 fastballs to hit last night. He'll hit this one.
Hit this one, and he kept it away from Tony, and he ran it upstairs. Batista's a notoriously good low fastball hitter, so Martinez said, I'll throw you a fastball. I'll just throw you where I want it.
So David Segui You can see last year only 26 games. He's had all kinds of injuries. Last year was the wrist injury, and he hits this one softly to the right side. Pedro Martinez takes the toss from David Ortiz. So one pitch, one out for David Segui. No score after 2. Coming down to Camden Yards, no better venue in all of baseball.
Great opportunity to take a look at the Phillies, who a lot of people picked to win the National League East this year.
Won't be easy, but they're certainly going to be more competitive. And there's a first pitch strike to Trot Nixon. So Trot heating up a little bit. You can see the average. Started out 1 for 9, 4 for his last 9 in the last 2 games. And that pitch just misses up and away. You know, Buck, it's interesting. A couple of years ago, one of the greatest catches I saw was he was playing center field here at Camden Yards, and he went out to right center field, and I'm talking about over the wall, making a fabulous catch. And most people look at him, we were talking about it last night, former quarterback, as being more of a hitter.
You know, he's just got a ball player's attitude. He's going to do whatever he can to beat you no matter where he's playing, be it right field, center field, at the plate, on the bases. Everything he does is 100% effort.
Off the high fastball, 3-1 to Trot Nixon.
Early in this game, Jason Johnson has already shown the Red Sox that he'll throw a changeup when he's behind. He's gotten the curveball over effectively. Let's see what he does here when he's in a hole to Nixon.
Looks like maybe a little changeup gets him to pop it up. Davy Cruz out. B.J. Surf off the left fielder on. I guess it was a fastball at 92. So Jason Varitek hit his second home run of the season last night. Pat Henkin coming in relief of Sidney Ponson, and very important in a 8-7 Red Sox win.
Well, Nixon had led off with a double. Varitek gets a first pitch changeup, and Henkin had thrown some good changeups, but he actually threw this one a little harder, and Varitek was able to connect. It was in a good spot down and away, but it was just a little too firm.
Well, Jason off to a great start. I mean, look at those numbers, 571.
So much for spring training. Varitek hit under 200 throughout the spring, but they had an optional workout on the Sunday before opening day, and he was the first one there standing in a mirror with his bat trying to get things going.
Well, you talked about Nixon and Varitek right there in the intensity and preparation.
You know, you talk to players before the game, and there's guys that want to talk and have a conversation. Varitek's all about business. He'll say hi and wave at you as he's going somewhere, either the batting cage or to a pitcher meeting. He's all business.
Yep. And there's a 2-0 strike. 2-1 now to Jason Varitek. Big and strong and durable. A couple of years ago, dove for a ball, fractured his right elbow. And there's another high fastball right at that upper limit of the strike zone.
Well, that's the question Varitek had for John Hirschbeck. Is that as high as your strike zone goes? And he goes, yep. Very diplomatic way to ask about a high strike.
2-2 pitch. Turned it over. Except the one thing about Jason, you know, when he's got the high rider going and then he just throws that 2-seamer, gives him a little different look.
Well, you always talk about changing the eye level of the hitter. Throw enough pitches up in the zone so you get him to look up, and then you go down and it catches him by surprise, and you'll get kind of a funny hack from time to time.
Once again, that 2-2 pitch. There's a changeup. Conine's going to take it himself. So through the first 2 2/3 inning, Jason Johnson and really using all his pitches very effective.
Well,
nothing but strikes.
This is where the Red Sox really show how good they are as a hitting team. Second time through the order, they've all had a look at Johnson. They've seen the fact that he's getting his breaking ball over and changeup. Now let's see how they adjust in their second at bat.
Johnny Damon struck out the first time. Swung right through a good curveball.
And this is the challenge for Johnson and Hill, is to change the pattern. He's shown you already that he can throw everything for a strike today.
Well, one pitch. Line to left center field. But right there, B.J. Surhoff. Damon hit it well. The Red Sox shut out through 3. Orioles coming up. New shortstop for the Orioles this year, 2003 season. Davy Cruz swings through a breaking ball from Pedro Martinez. Pedro Martinez, who actually came up with the Dodgers. He and his brother Ramon pitching for the Dodgers, traded to Montreal. The Dodgers needed a second baseman. Delino DeShields goes to the Dodgers, and Pedro goes over to Montreal, where he wins his first Cy Young Award. 1997. Davy Cruz, a couple of hops out to Garcia Pera. Well, you want to play golf? Beach Tree Golf Club, located near Ripken Stadium in Hartford County, Maryland, is nationally recognized by Golf Magazine as one of the top 100 courses you can play. You can call 410-297-9700 or log on to the www.beachtreegolf.com for more information.
Good time to be thinking about golf. Bell South this week. Next week it's the Masters down in Augusta.
Nothing wrong with that. Except that I will be doing games in Boston. Well, you know, the good thing is that the Orioles will go to Tampa Bay Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then up to Boston. In fact, the home opener for the Red Sox will be next Friday afternoon. Night game on Saturday, which means you can watch more of the Masters. And then Sunday, I'll be doing color with Mike Regai. You will be undoubtedly
in Key West, Florida,
coming around, watching them come around Amen Corner.
That's a great weekend. I think that's the true start of summer. Once the Masters is over, and it's okay, now we can think about summer.
It's usually the true start of Tiger Woods, who's won 3 out of the last 6. Geronimo Hill swinging through that high fastball. So Pedro, anywhere from 84 to 94 on the radar gun, and as you talked about, elevating, changing the eye level. Joe Kerrigan, now the pitching coach in Philadelphia, was his pitching coach in Montreal, and also with the Red Sox. He said he can do it as well as anybody, and he works on it.
Yeah, and he understands the value of changing speed. He doesn't try to just blow it by all the time. He can see the bat angle, see where the hitter is when he gets it through the hitting zone.
Breaking ball. You could see Varitek. Did he go? I don't think so. Varitek just given the target down.
That's a nasty breaking ball. He was out there quite a way, and Varitek thought he may have gone for it because once he knocked it down, he tagged Hill at the plate. But Wally Bell at first said he didn't swing.
So Pedro with 3 strikeouts, yet to walk anybody. And this ball put in the air to right field. Todd Nixon, as we mentioned, kind of a chilly temperature somewhere, at least I think at game time, somewhere around 50 degrees. Drizzle this morning, supposed to be clearing. Tim Wakefield walking around for the last 2 days. What's the weather report for Sunday? Is it good on the fingertips for the knuckleball?
Now, those knuckleballers, they would all prefer to pitch indoors where there's no breeze.
Jerry Hairston had a couple of good rips the first time up, fly to right. And there's a ball 1. Well, you mentioned it earlier, being able to change gears. So Jerry worked the count to get a couple of fastballs, but Pedro better than just about anybody, throwing different pitches and different counts and in and out, up and down. You look fastball, you get the breaking ball or changeup.
He's just so comfortable on the mound, and you can see his mind working out there, how he's going to execute an at-bat, little breaking ball, then gears it up on the fastball. Took something off of that pitch. I mean, he'll throw his changeup from 78 to 82. His fastball from 88 to 93, 94. and he'll throw 3 or 4 different breaking balls. He'll change the angle on his breaking ball. It's like he's got 8 or 9 different pitches.
1-2 pitch. Very able to foul it away.
You know, one thing that kind of aggravates me when you talk about great pitchers, and they do it about hitters as well. Well, you know, well, he's Pedro. Well, you know what? Pedro wasn't always like this. He worked hard at his trade, and all great pitchers do. Changing grips and coming up with more sink on a particular fastball.
And Hairston down on strikes. No score after 3 from Camden Yards. Pitcher duel this afternoon. Todd Walker is going to lead it off for Grady Little and the Red Sox. The Red Sox off to a pretty good start. 4-1 on the year. Dan Shaughnessy, Globe writer, Boston Globe writer, says, why does 4-1 seem like it's 2-3? I guess we're talking about the bullpen. Hit hard, Jerry Hairston. Terrific play. Took a hit away from Todd Walker. Well, let's take a look at our half-flack trivia question on this Saturday afternoon. Earl Weaver got his 1,000 managerial win on this day in 1979. Which team did the Orioles defeat for his first victory? Now, that's a pretty tough question. Oh, which team did for his first victory?
Probably a team in the East.
Actually, Earl Weaver took over at the All-Star break in 1968. His first base coach came up.
Took over for Hank Bauer?
Well, yeah, I mean, too much to Hank's chagrin, you know. I mean, here's your guy that, you know, stormed through the minor leagues, is a terrific manager, and now all of a sudden is Garcia Farah and Omar swinging right through that fastball. Here's your first base coach after the Orioles win the pennant and the World Championship in '66. In '67, they don't have a great year, a lot of injuries, so on and so on, and now Weaver has been called up. And he took over the job. I have no idea. Little chopper, Jason Johnson. Throw hop, perfect throw to Conine. So right through the 2-3 hitters here in the 4th inning. Second time through the lineup. These Red Sox 42 runs in their first 5 ball games.
Now they've got a potent lineup, and you really got to commend Johnson. We talk about second time through the lineup how these veteran hitters can make adjustments, but because he's thrown all of his pitches effectively for strikes early in the game, they really can't sit on one pitch.
And there's a good curveball to start him off. Well, Jason, in the morning paper, and we had a chance to talk to him, he said, I guess it's going to be tough talking about pitching against Pedro Martinez. He's a great pitcher, but if I do my job and shut their hitting down, and I'm sure our hitters are going to be able to do their job, I'll be able to beat them. I'm looking forward to it. And he didn't say that with any bravado. I think he just said, you know,
it's a challenge.
Yeah, well, the last couple of years, he lets the ineptness of the Oriole offense, especially down the stretch when they went 4-32, affect his performance. And not too often, but sometimes. And he wants to control that. And I saw him, and we were talking to him in the dugout, and I said, you know what? You said exactly what you need to do. Take care of your job.
If you want to know what's tough, try hitting Pedro, not pitching against him. He is probably as dominant and difficult to hit as any right-hander over the last several years because he does so many different things when he attacks a hitter.
2-1 pitch to Manny Ramirez. Buck Martinez told you, 19-game hitting streak. Started last year. Yeah, the Red Sox off to a great start last year, 40-17, and then the 11th of May up in Seattle. Manny Ramirez trying to score. Broke the pinky of his left hand and missed 39 games. Fisted, Conine. Great defense by the Orioles, and he throws it away. Geronimo Hill backing up. So we'll see how they score that. Terrific play to get to it. Jerry Hairston already robbed Todd Walker of a base hit to start this inning.
Well, Conine's got great hands and good range. He's very quick at first base. It wasn't a tough play for him once he gloved it. He's got enough time here, and his throw is just off the mark. Johnson wasn't late. It just pulled him toward the bag, and it's a difficult play. You've got to try to lead the pitcher.
So error number 2 for Jeff Conine on an opening day. Threw a ball into left field on a potential double play ball during the Snow Bowl against the Indians. So David Ortiz. One of the things you always talk about is giving a team an extra out, and that's what the Orioles have done. And your job as a pitcher is to try to pick up your teammates.
It's always difficult to give them extra outs, but it's really magnified when you're in the middle of the order.
Bouncer to Jeff Conine. This time smothers it. Inning over. Jason Johnson pitches out of trouble. No score here at Camden Yards. Not for your ego, but for your hands. So one pitch, and you know, Pedro has had some pretty brief pitch counts this year, or at least this game. In the second inning, only 7 pitches. There's a fastball low and away for a strike. P.J. Surhoff, base hit, the only base hit. In fact, the Red Sox with 1 hit, the Orioles with 1 hit. No runs for either team. So there is Pedro. That's what he's been able to do.
89 games over
but
500.
check out these numbers.
Walks. Look at the walks and strikeouts.
And look at the hits. In the air to right field, Trot Nixon. I don't know if we can go back to those graphics, but just to give you an idea of just how overpowering he can be. Strikes you out, doesn't give you many hits, and doesn't walk you.
Well, he never gets himself into trouble by walking guys, and if he does give up a hit or two, he certainly does it with runners on. But look at the walks. 508 walks, 2,226 strikeouts. You know, you always talk about 2-to-1 walks to strikeouts, so that's 4-to-1. I mean, that's getting it done. And hits to innings pitched, that's always a barometer by which you measure good pitchers.
And then if you can have, and some guys do it not too often, is when you have your walks and your hits below your innings pitched, that's when you dominate.
Yeah, you're doing good.
Real good. Jeff Conine, second time up. Puts it in the air. Johnny Damon. Easy inning for Pedro Martinez. We do have a pitching duel this afternoon at Camden Yards through 4. 5, 8, 900. Or you can get a form at your local Giant Food. One of the little things. Nothing game through 4 innings, and you were talking about nothing like a well-pitched game, and that's exactly what we have here at Camden Yards. As Jeremy Giambi leads it off for the Red Sox.
Well, many years ago, pitchers dictated the pace of the game every night, every single night. The pitchers set the tone for the game, and now hitters are setting a tone more often. But when you get a well-pitched ball game, it is a dream to watch.
And Giambi is going to try to do what he does so well. He does have home run power. Hit 20 last year, even though he only got up 78 times the second half. But Bill Epstein, he's a new general manager, only 28 years old. He's one of these baseball guys. He hired Bill James, the statistician, to help him, formulate his team and so forth. And he's a numbers guy, an on-base percentage. But I'll tell you one number. The first guy gets on, year in and year out, American League and National League, he usually scores somewhere around 49 to 50% of the time. You get the first guy out, it drops all the way to 15%. And that's what Giambi's trying to do right here with the count 3-1. And he's going to take the second base on balls. He's been up twice and walked twice.
But for me, Jeremy Giambi getting on base to start an inning in the 5th is not like Ricky Henderson getting on base. It doesn't distract you that much.
No.
Ground ball, double play, already it's erased. But when you have a Johnny Damon or a Ricky Henderson or a Jerry Hairston on base, then it gets into the pitcher's mind a little more effectively.
But the point I'm trying to make, and I know you're aware of this, is somebody that caught and managed and whatever, is that Grady Little now has some options.
Yeah, he can start
Bill Miller,
to
he can start the runner, he can bunt, he's got the hole now. I mean, Jeff Conine be about 15 feet off as he puts a nice bunt. Geronimo Hill is going to pounce on it. So they're playing little ball, and hey, why not?
Well, you're in a tough pitcher's duel. You got Pedro on the mound. You expect that It's not going to take many runs to decide this game, in a very well executed bunt by Bill Miller. National Leaguer shows his upbringing by putting down a great sacrifice. Not a whole lot of third basemen in the American League can sacrifice as effectively as that.
Yeah, no, most of them are ever asked to do it. We're not going to see Tony Batista squaring around too often, are we?
Nope.
Did you ever try that with him up at Toronto?
Nope.
You ever think about it?
Oh, yeah, you think about it.
Trot Nixon. Go-ahead run out at second as Jason drops a curveball over. He flied to left. Worked the count to 3-1 and then chased a high fastball. Popped it up to Surhoff his first time up. One hit for each team. So Pedro has struck out 4, has not walked anybody. Jason Johnson with a couple of walks and not as many strikeouts. Jason with 1 strikeout on the afternoon, which really doesn't mean that whole much to me. He's thrown every pitch over and
he's pitched ahead all afternoon.
That's exactly what he is to Trot Nixon at 0-2. He chases a high fastball, fouls it out of play.
When you get ahead like Johnson has to Nixon, he threw him a couple of curveballs to get ahead, and then you run that fastball up and away. Nixon has to swing at anything close. So you really improve your ability to get it out here by pitching ahead. Now you make the hitter think about protecting the plate. He's got to swing at anything close.
Yeah, Nixon lifetime against Jason Johnson, 1 for 19. And make it 1 for 20. Really doesn't get a whole lot better than that, Buck. The way he went right after Nixon. Strikeout number 2 on the afternoon.
He came at him with a lot of confidence and started him off with a curveball and finishes him off with a curveball. And that ball started out down around the knees and then breaks out of the strike zone. You got a guy in scoring position at second base, and Johnson delivers a big strikeout here to get himself a little more breathing room. Now you've got a red-hot hitter in Jason Varitek, but you have 2 outs and you got a base open. So you don't have to really challenge this guy, even though he's the number 9 hitter. Well, they're going to take that away from him as well.
Whoa.
Mike Hargrove going to give Varitek the free pass, and you can hardly blame him the way he's swung the bat already this season.
Well, I guess I would really, if I was pitching, I might have had to say to Mike Hargrove, you know what, do you realize that lifetime he's only 4 for 20 off me, so maybe he's hot, but against me. So I just hated to put an extra guy on in a nothing game.
Sure.
Because if you give up a run, I mean, as good as Pedro Martinez is, his ERA was over 2 runs a game, not too much over 2.
Well, let me tell you something. As a manager sitting down there, if I got Jim Palmer out there, I might allow him to do it a little differently, too. But here, Mike Hargrove says, you know what? Varitek's been red hot, hitting over 500. We got some late room. And instead of saying to a young pitcher, pitch around him and be careful, I'm going to take that away from him. I'm going to make the decision for Jason Johnson.
And, of course, Mike's got his fingers crossed, his feet crossed, his toes crossed, that he's able to get Johnny Damon out. Johnny Damon lined out his last time, struck out the first time. First pitch for a strike.
The managers can make all of these decisions, but unless the players perform, then you really put yourself in a tough spot. But he had to make a decision right there. He didn't hesitate. You either pitch to him or you put him on.
The Damon is 4 for 11 lifetime. So Mike Hargrove obviously going with who's hot and who's not.
Well, and you made a point about Damon's last at bat when he hit the ball up and out over the plate. A fastball hit pretty well to left field. So Johnson's got to remember that and make sure that he doesn't throw him that pitch about belt high out over the plate.
1-1 pitch. Nothing game. That was a fastball. Dropped down his arm, at least arm angle, and got under it a little bit. So he falls behind Johnny Damon 2-1.
But now he's got the inside part of the plate if he goes there. He's thrown breaking ball away, he's thrown fastball away, and he's got enough zip on his fastball to crowd Damon.
2-1 pitch. Changeup. Dangerous pitch to Johnny Damon.
But he could throw it because he had thrown it earlier in the game, and he has confidence. It counts in Damon's favor, and he's not going to swing at an off-speed pitch in a fastball count.
Good point. 2-2. The Red Sox with runners at first and second, 2 outs. So here's the 2-2 pitch. Curveball hit hard. Jeff Conine watches it into the glove. Jason Johnson pitching out of trouble. Orioles coming up, trying to get on the board. Jim Palmer along with Buck Martinez as we have a scoreless game through 4.5 innings. Let's take a look at our Geico Direct highlights from this afternoon.
Pedro Martinez with a good fastball. Pitches Gary Matthews looking. He comes back to Conine with another fastball. Martinez has had great command of his fastball, working the outside part of the plate. And he puts that changeup in your mind, and then he heats up that fastball. 47 pitches through 4 innings and 33 strikes. He's consistently in the strike zone.
Pretty efficient. There's a first pitch changeup to Jay Gibbons. Jay down on strikes his first time up. As a matter of fact, only B.J. Surhoff with a base hit with 2 outs in the first inning. So he's retired, what, 13 out of the, actually 12 out of the 13 batters he's faced this afternoon. Hadn't walked anybody. 4 strikeouts. Pedro, who is 30 years old, actually make it 31 years old, will turn 32 later on this season. And Jason Johnson at 29. Another breaking ball in a fastball count. The master.
Well, he just continues to work so hard on throwing all of his pitches for strikes that you never really can count on one pitch in a certain area. And we've talked about it all game long, but it's such an important aspect of Pedro Martinez's approach is going back and forth on velocity. Not just throwing a straight changeup, but he'll throw that changeup at different speeds and get bigger movement on it.
2-2 pitch. Good at bat right there by Jay Gibbons as he lays off that high fastball. It's going to run the count full 3-2.
Well, he hasn't worked Gibbons inside often in this game, and that just straightens him up.
So what do you think? 3-2 change?
Off speed, fastball away.
Well, the one thing about, I guess, pitching, if you have great stuff, and you talk about the fastball and terrific breaking ball, great changeup, because his arm speed looks exactly like his fastball, but he's totally unpredictable.
Yeah.
You can't ever really sit on a pitch.
And you can never look for a pitch or try to detect something in his delivery.
Changeup hit high and foul. So Jay Gibbons trying to scuffle, and to this point, the Orioles have not got a leadoff hitter in any of the first 4 innings.
And Gibbons is battling. He stays on that changeup and pulls it into the seats foul.
So once again, yet to walk anybody. The 3-2 pitch, fastball popped up. The shortstop, Nomar Garcia-Pera, first out here in the Orioles' 5th. Tony Batista had a great spring at 388 last night. Vacate like instant replays time after time.
Well, inside pitch right there. Batista gets his first hit on the fastball. That ball is a little more out over the plate, but his final hit came against Ramiro Mendoza, his 4th hit, and Tony's swinging the bat very well. He has now 6 career 4-hit games to his credit.
Fly to right his first time up against Pedro Martinez, and there's, hard to believe, a first pitch strike. Change up at 80 miles per hour, cruised it in. 1 down here in the 5th inning. Well, the interesting thing about Pedro is anytime, you go back to maybe one of the great pitching performances of all time was Bob Gibson back in 1968 with what, a 1.12 ERA and about 323 innings. But 2 years, Pedro, with over 200 innings, I mean, not pitching 300 innings like Gibbons or whatever, was able to have an earned run average of under 2 runs a game, 190 and then 174. Even got better when he came over from Montreal to the Red Sox in 2018 and 6 with a 1.74 ERA.
Well, The big thing about Pedro, they said it about Gibson, and I'll say it about Pedro. No wonder he wins all the time. The other team never hits when he pitches.
Chuck Thompson, the Hall of Fame, longtime Oriole cold broadcaster, used to say when good pitchers were out there, he said, not a whole lot happens, does it?
Look at Pedro's record. Cy Young. He's won them in both leagues, 5-time All-Star, including 99 when he struck out the first 4 hitters in that All-Star game at Fenway.
And if you're wondering what happened and why he didn't lead the league in ERA in 2001, that's the year he had the shoulder problems and actually only pitched 18 games, and 7-3 that year with a 2.39 ERA, which was, in this day and age with the DH and so forth, pretty low. Tony Batista trying to get something going for the Orioles. 1-2 pitch. Slider misses outside. 2-2.
And that slider was a flat slider. He'll add a little tilt from time to time, and that's what I mean. You take 3 pitches, you magnify it by about 4 different angles and 4 different speeds, and you've got too many things to think about as a hitter.
Pretty good pitch to hit. High slider, but Batista gets under it. Hits it to straightaway center field, and Johnny Damon waiting. Out number 2. We'll take a look at our eye-whiff injury report this afternoon. David Segui, who kind of a freak accident. Jay Gibbons hit a ground ball during batting practice, hit his thumb. Little chip fracture, so he is back off the disabled list. Jose Leon has gone down to AAA Rochester. You can see the numbers. Orioles a little bit better with David Segui. But they signed a 4-year deal a couple of years ago because he can hit.
Yeah.
And he's a terrific first baseman, even though he's had some problems with his knees. It's that ball right back up the middle. And Terry Crowley, Oriole hitting instructor, said normally he'll probably hit in the 3 spot. He can really set the tone for this ball club. Switch hitter. The man is just a hitting machine.
He had a good pitch from Pedro right there, too. A low fastball. Ripped it right back through the mound, and trying to get ahead. Pedro has been pounding the strike zone all day long, and that was a good low fastball, but Segui turned it around.
So it's good to see David Segui back. He will add to this Oriole offense. Davy Cruz with 2 outs. A couple of hop ground ball to Garcia Perez, his first time up, and they just get David Segui for running hard. So Cruz bounces out through 5, scoreless at the yard.
A little bit different line score today. No runs, 3 hits. Last night, 15 runs, 27 hits.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Well, that's that classic statement, Buck. Does good pitching stop good hitting?
Absolutely, every day.
The Red Sox right back into the middle of their lineup. Walker robbed of a base hit by Jerry Hairston, then Garcia Perez, and then the number 4 hitter, Manny Ramirez. Let's take a look. Yeah, let's go back to that inning when Todd Walker bid for a base hit. And there's Jerry Hairston.
Good defense comes when the pitcher throws a lot of strikes, because the defenders are always on their toes anticipating the ball being put into play. You get a guy out there going ball 1, ball 2, everybody kind of loses interest, including the defenders, and pitchers can do themselves a tremendous amount of favor by pounding that strike zone, keeping the hitters in a swing mode, and you get your defense on their toes.
Curveball, and I think Walker able to stay back. And once again, Bill Welke down at third base. The Todd Walker, who came up with the Twins, actually his first full year with the Twins, hit over 300. Everybody does. Great bat. Not going to be what Ray Sanchez, who played second base for the Red Sox, was last year, which is sterling defender. Good pitch by Jason Johnson. 2-seam fastball. Routine play for Jerry Hairston. First man out here in the 6th.
Well, Johnson and Hill are doing a good job of using all of their pitches, and now they're trying to exploit the inside part of the plate. They have worked Walker away, and that sinking fastball starts inside and works down and away from the Red Sox second baseman, and he hits a ground ball to the second baseman.
So one of the notorious first ball hitters with a couple of lifetime home runs against Jason Johnson. Nomar Garciaparra. Now, Buck, you caught for many, many years. You know Nomar's a first ball hitter. You know he's got power. Just quality pitches.
Yeah, good pitches. Just really focus on making a good pitch.
Curveball in the air. Could be trouble. But I think he got it off the end of the bat. Home run swing. But the ball stays in here. So Jason Johnson elevates the curveball and gets away with it. 2 outs here now in the 6th inning for the Red Sox. So out tomorrow is McCormick Spice's Orioles calendar day at Camden Yards. The first 25,000 adults will receive a great Orioles calendar. Compliments of McCormick Spices. Get your tickets now for tomorrow's McCormick Orioles calendar day by calling 1-888-8848-BIRD, or you can always go online at theorioles.com. Number 4 hitter Manny Ramirez takes that fastball outside corner. Kind of game where one pitch can change the whole complexion of this game. One play, one base running play, one mental mistake, you name it.
Not unlike Thursday's game against Cleveland, Brian Anderson against Rick Helling. He was Matt Lawton's 3-run home run, the only score in that ball game, and it's a similar situation here. And the Orioles continue to get real good starting pitching. First time through the rotation, Jason Johnson's in the 5th spot in that rotation. They've had 4 real good starts.
2-1 to Manny Ramirez. Manny last year winning his first batting title. Pretty impressive. He's had 7 30-plus home run years, 3 with 40 home runs or more, 100 RBIs 7 times. A hitting machine. A little changeup, 2-2.
Good location.
Oh, looking for the fastball. Threw something different.
And you know what? He was determined to get all of his pitches into the game early on. He came out, got his curveball over early, got his changeup over when he was behind, and it served him very well here this afternoon.
2-2 pitch to Ramirez. Oh, just missed low and away. Oh, it's interesting. We had a chance to talk to Mark Wiley, the Oriole pitching coach, and he was talking about Sidney Ponson last night. First 2 innings, Sidney used all his pitches, and then, boy, in that 5-run 3rd inning, just got into a fastball mode.
He just tried to power his way out of that inning, and it just didn't work.
3-2 pitch to Ramirez. Curveball. Little roller. Batista over to Conine. Inning over. Orioles a chance to take the lead as they bat in the bottom of the 6th here at Camden Yards.
Inner Harbor area in Baltimore.
So Geronimo Hill will face Pedro Martinez. And this game's scoreless. The Red Sox with 1 hit, the Orioles with 2. Well, you're right. What a difference a mere 12 hours makes.
And last night was cold, and you didn't think it would be a very good hitter's night, but 15 runs, 27 hits. These 2 pitchers have locked themselves up in a pretty interesting battle.
Geronimo up once and flied to right field. Pedro just kind of cruising through the lineup. He struck out 4, yet to walk anybody. Strike make that 5. And as Geronimo Hill starts the 6th inning with a strikeout. Only B.J. Surhoff and David Segui with base hits this afternoon.
Well, the veterans in the lineup have been able to come through against Pedro, but there's a good example of elevating your fastball. They go away, and that ball just has a little extra skip at the end.
You know, you've been talking all afternoon, and you know Mike Flanagan was a master of this. Dave McNally and people like that is talking about not the BP fastball, but taking a little bit off, adding, subtracting. And the only way, from what you know, a lot of pitchers do that is if you have good command.
Right.
In other words, if you make quality pitches, keep the ball out of the middle of the plate, and if you do add a little bit, a lot of times it doesn't have to be a strike.
And the biggest thing is you've got to have enough confidence to do it.
And that comes from what you talked about, work ethic and
experience,
and preparation.
doing it, trying it, and believing it.
1-0 pitch.
The guy that always gave me fits was Scotty McGregor. He'd throw that high fastball right up there, and it looked like something you could really hit hard, and it just had a little extra finish. And then he'd throw that big curveball, and he had you back and forth all the time.
There's a strike to Jerry Hairston. Jerry trying to get on base. Flied out and struck out. One of the 5 strikeouts for Pedro Martinez. And of course, if he does get on, he represents speed. Stole 21 bases last year. Got a 27. Fly ball up the gap. Got a chance for extra bases. Here goes Jerry around second. He's digging for third. So a 1-out triple. First extra base knock of the afternoon for either team. And now 90 feet away, the go-ahead run.
Well, that's the approach that they would love to see from Jerry Hairston. 3 triples a year ago, first of the season, against Pedro Martinez, and the approach is go the other way, stay on top of the ball, drive it up the alley in right center. Trot Nixon goes all the way to the wall in right center. Jerry Hairston takes one peek out at the outfielder and says, I got to get to third. Now you put pressure on the defense. They got to play in.
So Gary Matthews Jr. He struck out the first time and lined, and actually took one off the thumbs. Pedro Martinez coming up and in, and with a soft liner to David Ortiz. Situational hitting. Tom Trebelhorn, the Orioles third base coach, talking to us before the game. He said this is just something the Orioles are going to have to do. Get a runner at second base with less than 2 outs, get him to third. Get a runner at third with less than 2 outs and get him in.
Well, you see the defense on the infield now is in. That really limits their range. So you've got to get a pitch that you can handle and drive the ball. Don't chase any of those low pitches, the off-speed pitches, until you have to. Ball in on the hands, tough to get it to the outfield.
Well, we talk about capabilities of pitchers as we take another look at this pitch. I mean, this is a strikeout situation for Pedro Martinez, and other than maybe Randy Johnson, is there anybody better in baseball to try to go for a strikeout?
No, he is actually going to make pitches in an attempt to strike out Matthews. He can't afford to have Gary Matthews Jr. put it in play.
In an inside corner. When Gary Matthews came over, Terry Crowley said, the one thing, you're big and strong, but we're going to try to make more contact. Cut down on the strikeouts, and of course, this is one of those classic situations where you'd like to have that happen if you're an Oriole fan. Pedro, he's trying to strike you out, and he can do it with the best of them. Breaking ball. Chopper tags the base. Play it home. Safe. Terrific slide by Hairston. They get the out at first base, but the Orioles take a 1-0 lead.
What a great slide by Jerry Hairston. He slid away from the home plate, reached back with his left hand, and swiped across the plate. Matthews gets the RBI, and Jerry Hairston gets the high fives. He puts it in play with 2 strikes. Ortiz steps on the bag, fires home, but look at a great slide. Veritek comes up, puts his foot in front of the plate. The only place that Hairston can swipe at it is with his hand.
So a terrific job by Gary Matthews Jr., as you mentioned, staying alive, and then an even better base running Jerry Hairston, who spent 6 weeks out in Arizona, as he did last year. That athlete's performance, working on agility, first step, and boy, did he get to the plate in a hurry.
Well, you might question Ortiz for taking the time to step on the bag in that situation, because in this ball game, any contact on the infield, you're going to take a chance to score the run. You're not going to play it safe.
So B.J. Surhoff, base hit his first time up. Fly ball to right for an out the second time. 1 for 2 last night. Pretty good night. 3 for 5, 2 doubles, drove in a run. Pops it up. Garcia Parra got it measured. Inning over, but the Orioles on a triple and an RBI ground out. Take a 1-0 lead at 1-0 here in Baltimore. Buck Martinez and I went up early this afternoon about 11:30 and to see one of the great guys in the game. Good friend of ours, Johnny Oates, coming up from Virginia.
Got a bunch of pals with him, and they're out here at the ballpark. Yeah, they had a good time. And
a whole squadron came up here along with Johnny. He's been at Hopkins battling cancer the last couple of years, so we wish him well. We had a chance to talk to him, and I mean, what a great guy.
Boy, I tell you, he is an outstanding guy, and you can tell how his pals really like him. I mean, there's like 12 guys with him, and they all came up to enjoy the weekend here at Camden Yards.
Well, they probably need a manager, don't you think?
Yeah, he's their manager on this trip.
Well, the Orioles with a 1-0 lead. Jason Johnson has pitched a marvelous game. He's got a 1-0 lead going to 7th inning as Ortiz will lead it off. Bounce into a double play and then hit a roller on a changeup that Jeff Conine took himself and for a put out back in the 4th inning. So he's 0 for 2. Big time power. 20 home runs last year for Minnesota.
Well, there's no reason to change your pattern if you're Jason Johnson. He's been effective, obviously, just with a 1 hit allowed, but he's been able to throw his breaking ball and changeup when he is behind in the count, as he is right here.
2-1 pitch. And there's a perfect pitch. Took a little bit off and hit that outside corner. I mean, that was, wasn't a changeup, but it was just I mean, you talked about command. That's just hair.
A well-placed two-seam fastball. I mean, he threw it with conviction.
And well, of course, the Orioles, Buddy Groom and Rick Bauer warming up with conviction. Giambi, a left-hander on deck. Curveball misses up and away. Pretty good afternoon for Jason. 3 walks, one of them intentional. A couple of strikeouts. And the Red Sox with only 1 base hit. Manny Ramirez back in the 2nd inning. Infield variety. Other than that, haven't done much damage. Curveball, hit, foul. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Ortiz would happen to get on the way Groom pitched last year and the spring he had, that you force, if you're Mike Hargrove, you force Grady Little to maybe make a change if you bring in the lefty Groom.
Well, the thing about today's lineup, he's got Shea Hillenbrand and Kevin Millar on the bench. 2 good right-handed hitters.
Good pitch. Jason Johnson. Little deflection.
Well, what a heads-up play by the catcher, Geronimo Hill. He watched that ball hit Johnson. Whether he got a glove on it or not, we don't know. But so many guys will stand there and watch the things develop in front of them and never react. But watch the catcher's reaction. The ball hits Johnson. He swipes at it behind his back. And here comes Hill from behind the plate in time to get Ortiz at first. Heads-up play and a big play here in this 1-run ball game.
So that, if you're scoring with us, is 1-2-3. So let's take a look at our Jim Coleman Honda keys to the game this afternoon, Buck.
Jerry Hairston, the only extra base hit today, hit a triple last inning, came in to score on the ground ball out by Gary Matthews Jr. B.J. Surhoff started the season 0 for 9, got a day off. He's come back 4 for 8, starting to swing with a lot of confidence. Pedro Martinez, 7-1 career against the Orioles. And he is trailing right now in this game, but he has been as sharp as ever.
And after a conversation, Mark Wiley with Jason Johnson, we're talking about really probably he was started at 90 pitches, maybe 96 on the year, probably hadn't thrown that much in spring training. So they go to one of the best bullpens in baseball and one of the best left-handed relievers in the game. Jason Johnson with a 1-0 lead after 6 1/3. Well, back at Camden Yards, conversation between the Orioles skipper Mike Hargrove and Jason Johnson. What do you think, Buck? Maybe kind of explaining why he went to the bullpen?
Well, I don't know. It's difficult to really know what Mike's telling him, but other than he's got to be very pleased with his start. 6 1/3, just a single hit, turns it over to the veteran Buddy Groom. A year ago, 70 appearances. Had a couple of saves, sparkling ERA at 1.60. And look at the hits to innings pitched. He didn't give up much, and he has been very tough on lefties.
and righties. Didn't really matter last year. And Giambi. Jeremy with a couple of walks, and you know, one of those, not those prototypical lefties, because he's got pretty good numbers against the left-handed pitching last year. I mean, not as many home runs, only one home run, but actually 286 against left-handers last year and 251 against right-handers. So Buddy Groom comes in with one out here in the 7th inning. The Red Sox have been red hot with the bat until Jason Johnson took out the big eraser. It's one of the better games I've ever seen him pitch. There's a strike outside corner. 1-2 now to Jeremy Giambi. So Buddy Groom, July 10th, he'll turn 38. Never realized he had the velocity he had until he got here.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he could. I mean, I don't know what.
Well, you don't really
thrown
think
today,
about
but
him.
yeah, 92, 93, 94 miles per hour from time to time.
A very legitimate fastball.
And he legitimizes the strikeout to Giambi. That fastball at 91, but in a terrific spot.
Well, these left-handers like Groom and Dan Plesac are so valuable because they can come in and neutralize an uprising in a heartbeat. I mean, that's tough for any hitter, but you locate a fastball with that velocity in that location, and it's tough.
Bill Miller, line drive to left center field. B.J. Surhoff can't get to it. So a 2-out double. Miller turning around, hit the first 2 times from the left side. First pitch swinging, double.
Well, now the wheels are spinning in the Red Sox dugout. Trot Nixon's been called back.
Yeah, we talked about it. You know, lifetime 216 hitter coming into this season. Take another look right here at Bill Miller.
Well, he didn't waste any time. He jumped on the first pitch from Buddy Groom and rifled it past B.J. Surhoff all the way to the wall.
So it appears we're going to get a pinch hitter. Kevin Millar off to a terrific start.
Well, Brady Little has made it a very, very conscious effort to get everybody on his team into action early. So by doing that, when he has to have a guy pinch hit, he hasn't been sitting around for a week or so. Millar got off to a great start in the 4-game series at Tampa. Hit 2 home runs, drove in 6. He had a big hit here last night to drive in a couple. They're gaudy numbers to start the season.
You're right. I mean, those 8 RBIs in 5 games, and Brady Little, they quoted in the paper, is Mark Wiley, Oriole pitching coach, going to come out and talk to Buddy Groom. He said, you know what, he may be the best guy I've ever seen driving in runs. He's only seen him 5 games. But we showed you a number the last couple of years. He's hit over 300. He knows what he wants to do at the plate. Perfect fit for Fenway Park. And Jason Johnson obviously anxiously looking on, hoping to pick up a win.
On Tuesday, in the 16th inning against Tampa Bay, Kevin Millar wins the game. He hit a home run in the 16th. The Red Sox have been shut out for 9 innings by a very effective Devil Rays bullpen, but he hit the game winner.
So Millar's going to hit for Trot Nixon. And Buddy Groom misses with a breaking ball down and in. They have never faced each other over the course of their careers. Tying run at second. The Orioles triple by Hairston, ground out by Matthews, took the lead in the bottom of the 6th, and the Red Sox trying to come back here in the 7th inning. 2-out double by Bill Miller. Orioles with 3 hits, the Red Sox with 2, the Orioles with the only run. Changeup misses away. 3-0. Pitch that Buddy Groom used very effectively in the 2002 season. What do you think Mark Wiley might have said? Hey, even though Veritek's been very hot from the right side, make your pitches.
I think right there he probably went over the scouting report again, and now after being behind 3-0, they're going to put him on. So now Jason Varitek comes to the plate, and he'll hit from the right side against Buddy Groom, and Hargrove and Wiley discussing this situation.
Well, he's 6 for 8 this year hitting right-handed, so I guess they figured maybe he's due to make an out.
He hit a monster home run off of the catwalk in the Tropicana Dome. Many people thought it was one of the longest they'd ever seen hit there.
So Jason grounded out, and he walked back in the 5th inning. Buddy Groom trying to get out of trouble here. Once again, misses with the breaking ball. Johnny Damon, a left-handed batter waiting on deck. Rick Bauer, right-hander for the Orioles, ready in the bullpen.
Good changeup. There's the pitch you were talking about, Jim. It's so effective against right-handed hitters. Buddy Groom will throw 92, 93 miles an hour with his fastball. Then that changeup comes from such good arm speed that hitters think fastball, and the ball never gets to him.
Yeah, Buddy also, he stands on that third base side of the rubber and then throws a little bit across his body. So tough on lefties and kind of create that angle.
Pretty good pitch.
Yeah, Jamie Moyer, we were talking about that last year in Seattle, gets on that third base sign because it sets up the angle to the right-hander on the inside corner. And also, if you can get on the inside of the ball, you can run that two-seamer away, and also that changeup that, when thrown properly, it looks exactly the same. Good hitting count for Jason Varitek. 2-1 pitch. Swung right through it. 2-2.
Another great changeup from Buddy Groom. Got a lot of confidence in that pitch.
Crunch time here at Camden Yards. Orioles with a 1-run lead. Trying to make it hold up. Bullpen's been very good. Only 4 runs in 19 2/3 innings. Ground ball left side. Davy Cruz over to Hairston. Inning over. Buddy Groom pitching out of trouble. Jason Johnson with a chance to win for the first time this season. Well, welcome back, Oriole fans. And as we head into the Orioles' bottom half of the 7th inning, let's take a look at our Maryland Lottery Let Yourself Play fan of the game. Well, let's see. Having a good time. So let's hope that the Orioles, as the will be able to hold on to this 1-0 lead, maybe add to it. Pedro Martinez still on the mound. As you mentioned, Buck Kevin Millar comes in and pinch hits and then goes out to right field for Trot Nixon.
Pedro Martinez is going to start talking to himself. 7 innings in the first game of the season, 3 hits, a no decision. 6 innings so far, just 3 hits and a single run.
Well, Jeff Conine, grounder up the middle. Garcia Pera quickly to his left. Tag by Ortiz. So Pedro Martinez hadn't hit very hard. Only the triple in the infield out, Buck.
He is always a tough opponent on the mound. 6 1/3, just the 3 hits. The 1 earned run, first earned run he's allowed. This is just his second start. Gave up an unearned run down in Tampa Bay. 5 strikeouts. Jerry Hairston's triple. Gary Matthews Jr. RBI ground out.
Jay Gibbons right back towards us. He's going to fall short. Jay looking to get on base. He struck out and popped up. Oh, 1 pitch. Gibbons with 28 home runs last year. A lot of them on the first pitch. What, 5 out of the first 7, 10 out of the first 15. And then he said, of course, the whole league understood that, Buck, and they just kind of changed. Got him on a curveball. Strike out number 6 on the afternoon.
Backdoor curveball to a left-handed hitter. They see it way in the other batter's box, have a tendency to give up on it, and the late break brings it down and catches the outside corner. Watch the catcher. He wants it down. Pedro delivers. Varitek with a nice job of receiving that ball and enhance a pretty good pitch.
Tony Batista looking to get on base. 0 for 2. 4 hits last night. And Buck Martinez told you the 6th time he's been able to do that. Homer the other night on Wednesday night against Ricardo Rodriguez. Had a great spring, 388, but did not hit a home run. Like he's getting in, tuning it up a little bit.
Yeah, he's starting to feel a little better. He had a couple decent pitches last night.
Yeah, it's interesting. You watch, Eddie Murray, who's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame in late July. You watch him take BP, and you go, this guy's got no chance.
He'll never get a hit.
And then, of course, 3,000 hits, 500 home runs later, he's going to the Hall of Fame. Batista pops this one up. Pedro Martinez still giving his team a chance to win 1-2-3 inning here in the 7th at Camden Yards. Buddy Groom's going to stay on the mound for Mike Hargrove and the Orioles. He came into with 1 out in the 7th inning, was able to work himself out of trouble. Struck out Jeremy Giambi, Bill Miller doubled, and Kevin Millar walked intentionally, and then he got Varitek to bounce to shortstop. Johnny Damon is going to lead it off. Damon, Walker, and Garcia Parra, first 3 hitters scheduled for Grady Little's Boston Red Sox.
Buddy Groom has 2 hitters he's got to pitch to. Johnny Damon, Todd Walker, and they've got Rick Bauer ready in the bullpen.
Sliced down the left field line. B.J. Surhoff playing him perfectly. So let's take a look at our Geico Direct highlights. Jason Johnson, a wonderful afternoon.
Really started out early and threw all of his pitches over the plate. Took command of this game early on. He used all of his pitches. Got Johnny Damon to start the game with a curveball to strike him out. David Ortiz hits a curveball for a double play. And Jason Johnson set the tone early by telling the Red Sox, I am coming at you with all my pitches. And he gets Trot Nixon to strike out on another good curveball. He had great command all afternoon. 6 1/3, allowed just the 1 hit.
So 1 up, 1 down. The Orioles down to need 5 outs. Todd Walker, doesn't really matter whether you're right-handed or left-handed. You throw it up there, he's going to have a pretty good swing. We saw that last night as he took a Ponson low and away fastball, hit it up the middle, and then hit a curveball off Henkin. And Mike Hargrove out of the dugout quickly after Todd Walker singles with 1 out here in the 8th inning. Rick Bauer, 6'6" right-hander. So the Orioles will bring in Bauer, trying to maintain and hang on to this 1-0 lead. Rodrigo Lopez going to pitch for the Orioles, and the knuckleballer. This park's going to be fluttering tomorrow. Tim Wakefield. Well, Rick Bauer's been perfect this year, Buck.
Well, he sure has. He had a great year last year, 56 appearances. And he's up to a big challenge here.
So Garcia Parra, first pitch swinging. Not too much doubt about that. Nomar 2 for 9 lifetime. And the Orioles, Rick Bauer, when he is right, sinker, slider, changeup, would love to get a ground ball at somebody. Garcia Parra is going to get down the line as quickly as he can. 0-1 pitch.
Had him reaching.
Yep. Well, conventionally, and I never really thought about this, but Batista not playing the line, even though, Garcia represents, he's off the line, pretty much where you'd want him to play.
Double play ball, that's what you're looking for. One swing of the bat and 2 outs, and that's a great exchange.
0-2 pitch. Slider popped up. Jeff Conine with room in foul territory. 2 outs here in the Orioles 8th.
Jim, we talk about the strength of this bullpen, and they come at you with some great arms. And Buddy Groom did his job. He came in and got the left-handers out. And look at the angle of this breaking ball. Garcia Parra really reaching for that ball with 2 strikes, pops it up in foul territory up the first baseline. And they have gotten some quality arms out of that bullpen.
Well, we have a chance to go in the press room and before the game see a lot of the scouts, and boy, they really like. They like the whole bullpen. But to Rick Bauer, a lot of the scouts saying, well, you know, maybe if Sidney Ponson either is traded or has shoulder problems or whatever, Bauer's the type of guy that might be a starter, but he's been very effective the way they've used him. There are the numbers. Manny Ramirez off Rick Bauer. Breaking ball for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to Manny Ramirez. Always a threat to either drive the ball or get a base hit. We saw that last night. He just poked the double down into the corner.
Yeah, he's just a great hitter. And Bauer got out another great hitter when he got Garcia Parra to pop up.
Slider hit hard. Jerry Hairston shaded up the middle. And Cruz not there, but he takes it himself. So the Oriole bullpen, they maintain this 1-0 lead after 7½.
Fenway Park with seats above the Green Monster.
What's there, about what, 240, 280? I tell you, you're going to get shell shocked up there. You were talking about that yesterday in BP.
Can you imagine that? 315 feet away and 2 teams taking batting practice. You're going to have to issue chest protectors and helmets.
Pedro Martinez trying to hang on and hope for some late runs from his offense. David Segui bidding for another base hit, singled up the middle the last time, but Garcia Parra saying, I think I'm going to play a little more up the middle, able to get to it. So David, I don't know if he'll get up again, but he's 1 for 3 this afternoon. His first game of the 2003 season, just coming off the disabled list. I'm going to bring up Davy Cruz. The Orioles 1 run on 3 hits. They've made an error. And the Red Sox yet to score on 3 hits. They have been errorless this afternoon.
One great thing about baseball, you never know what you're going to see on a given day. Last night, hitters ruled.
Did they ever?
Pitchers.
Cruz. Right to Garcia Parra. 2 outs here in the Orioles' 8th inning. You can spend your summer Sundays at Camden Yards, the 13-game Sunday ticket plan, highlighted by games against the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Phillies. You can call the Orioles right now at 410-685-9800 for your 13-game Sunday plan and get ready to root the birds on.
Well, the Yankees got good news when Derek Jeter was examined. They ruled that he wouldn't need surgery. As you look at Jorge Julio, the closer, he's all set to come in and work tonight.
Geronimo Hill's done a single to right field with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. He had flied out and struck out, so he's now 1 for 3. Fourth hit on the afternoon for the Orioles.
Boy, that's a great approach. That ball was up out over the plate, and he just laced it into right field.
Well, that's what they worked on, and you watch him in BP. I mean, he's a big guy. You know, I mean, Geronimo, what do you think, about 6'2"?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe 215. But his approach is use the whole field, and you play enough, and it looks like he's going to be the everyday catcher, even though maybe Brooke Fordyce will see a little more action than last year. Had to rest Geronimo a little bit more, and you're going to get those hanging breaking balls. Take advantage of those. So here's the hitting hero for the Orioles, Jerry Hairston, with 1 out in the 6th inning, tripled to right center field, hustled his way to all the way to third, and then Gary Matthews Jr. Did a little roller. David Ortiz at first stepped on the bag, tried to get Hairston at the plate. As he skies it to center, Johnny Damon. So Pedro Martinez through 8, only 1 run, but trails it 1-0. Orioles trying to win it here in the 9th inning. 1-0 a ball game. Jorge Julio. And you get all the way back to what, August 15th last year, when he had his last regular season save.
They went through a drought, obviously. The Orioles in the month of September struggling to get into safe situations. This year, this will be his 3rd appearance, and he worked in last night's game, had a perfect inning, and that was important because he had not pitched since the opener on Monday. So he got an opportunity to work in the game last night, and that'll serve him well here as he tries to close out this 1-0 ball game.
So David Ortiz is going to lead it off. Jeremy Giambi, they let him hit against Buddy Groom. He's a left-handed batter. He waits on deck. And then the switch hitter, Bill Miller. He is in the hole. So the Red Sox, as we told you early on, I mean, a run-scoring machine, 42 runs. 38 runs in their last 4 games. And today, Jason Johnson, Buddy Groom, and Rick Bauer been able to shut him out. So Jorge Julio, last year 26 out of 31, and action in the Boston Red Sox bullpen just in case Pedro looks on. And Julio behind Ortiz, 2-0. Nobody up behind him. And Chad Fox, we saw him warming up in a hurry as the Orioles came storming back and fell 1 run short last night. There's a strike. 2-1.
The Orioles have really kept the Red Sox from scoring consistently in this series. They scored twice in last night's game.
And there's ball 3, 3-1.
But they had a 5-run inning and a 3-run inning. But they did a good job of keeping them in check.
Yeah, the Orioles, I mean, last year 6-13 against the Red Sox. Going to play them 19 times, 10 up at Fenway, 9 here. And boy, that's the last thing you want to do if you're Jorge Julio. Go ahead run now comes to the plate. Damian Jackson is going to come in and run for David Ortiz. So there's your tying run at first via the free pass. And that's what it is.
The worst possible time for a free pass. 1-0 game, leadoff walk in the ninth.
Well, we've been talking all day long in a 1-run ball game, 1-0 game. It's the little things. Key play here. Matthews getting Hairston in with 1 out. Didn't hit it hard, but got the job done. And Giambi, he will eyeball you to death. He's got power. He was walked twice and struck out against Buddy Groom.
Giambi looked down at Mike Cubbage, the third base coach, got a sign and wasn't really sure if he saw the sign correctly, so asked for it again. Makes you think that he might be bunting here. At least he wanted the Orioles to think he might be bunting. No signs whatsoever. He's got home run power, obviously.
Well, you got speed at first. Damian Jackson can run. You got a home run hitter at the plate, a very disciplined hitter. Already walked twice. There goes Jackson. Geronimo Hill can't throw him out. Ball into center field. Gets away from Hairston. And tying run all the way to third base with nobody out. Some aggressive base running by Grady Little and the Red Sox.
Well, he takes a gamble here in a 1-run game. Starts the runner. Damian Jackson gets the stolen base. The ball goes past Davy Cruz. And Jackson alertly bounces to his feet and heads to third. That'll be an error on Hill. And that'll bring the infield in.
So Julio, a little struggle with his control. Can he strike you out? That he can. There's a fine line here. You have a young pitcher, only 24 years old, and I don't care what he did last year. You're still trying to establish yourself as a closer. Mark Wiley's going to, Oriole pitching coach, going to come out and talk to him, and you know the run on third is important, but the go-ahead runs at the plate.
Sure.
And you know, it's such a fine line. You probably went through this with a multitude of guys over the course of your career.
Kelvin Escobar in Toronto, you know, he's got great stuff, but still not really at that stage where you're totally relaxed as you would be with a Dennis Eckersley kind of guy or a Mariano Rivera guy. But, you know, statistically, you say this guy's a closer when you look at his bio and you have to recognize how young he is and how little experience he has in these situations.
Yeah, 3 years removed from being a starter down at Class A ball in Jupiter in Montreal, and his record that year 2-10.
And Pedro, an anxious observer.
So selective hitter at the plate, 2-1 count. Jackson with speed. Oriole infield in. Ball 3. 4 out of the 5 pitches to Ortiz were balls. And here now 3 out of the 4 pitches to Giambi. 3-1 pitch. Good fastball inside part of the plate. Well, you know, it's interesting, Buck. It's so simple to sit up here and say, well, you know, if everything's up and away, you know, hold on to it a little longer, make sure you stay back. But in the heat of battle, that is sometimes hard to do, especially when you're inexperienced. Yep.
Emotions get involved.
3-2 pitch. Tying run at third. Nobody out. Took it for ball 4. Go ahead run now at first base.
Well, Julio just doesn't have the kind of arm where he's going to locate. He's going to power you and try to get in the strike zone. Giambi with his 3rd walk of the afternoon.
And that base on balls causes the Oriole infield to move back to play for the double play. Conine's got to hold Giambi on. Giambi not with great speed, but it opens up that hole between first and second. Miller faking the bunt. And still nobody up in the Oriole bullpen.
This is the guy that's supposed to close out games for you.
One way or the other.
Miller studying the signs from the third base coach Mike Cubbage. That was possibly a sacrifice. Wasn't going to be a squeeze. See if he can put down a bunt. Going to do it again.
There's another ball. Ball 2.
Got to throw a strike in this situation. They're trying to give you an out. They're just trying to advance the runner from first to second. They're not going to gamble with the guy at third base as Cubbage goes through the signs once again for the base runners and the hitter Bill Miller.
And now there is action in the Oriole bullpen. It looks like B.J. Ryan, tall lefty, getting up and throwing. 2-0 pitch to Bill Miller. Runners at first and third. Swinging away this time, fouls it back.
Sure, you get to count in your favor 2-0. You know they got to throw a fastball. And you give him the green light as you look at B.J. Ryan. He's probably looking down the road to Johnny Damon. If they get that far. Pop up in a double play. That's what Mike Hargrove wants to see.
Kevin Millar waits on deck. He came in to pinch hit. Little bunt. Nice play by Geronimo Hill. Yeah, but he can't quite get to it. Looked like he might have been able to grab it.
He hurt himself. He really extended himself through that shoulder out there. Take a look at the effort. Valiant effort. That ball hit on the ground as he dove for it. Looked like he may have knocked the wind out of himself. Beyond his reach. But he saw an opportunity to pick up an out. I think he just hit hard on the ground and knocked the wind out of himself. Julio's still in a pretty good situation. First and third, nobody out. You get it out here, strike out Miller, get him to pop up. Then you got a potential double play guy coming up, so you can't get out of it. You make quality pitches, and you can get out of it.
I like you.
Yeah.
You're like Lasortis.
I'm a catcher, you know.
You're an optimist. Well, that's really what you
throw
like
95, sure. I mean, you can pop up anybody.
Also, Mark Wiley talking about the fact that the one pitch that Jorge Julio worked on this spring was the changeup, and again that slider. Now the slider is a great pitch for him if he throws it out of the strike zone. If he throws it in the strike zone, it's just slow enough sometimes to speed up the hitter's bat.
You want a strike to ball slider.
Exactly. Great time for it right here. We'll see what he throws. 2-2. There it is. Got him. Geronimo Hill.
Well, good call, Jim. It was exactly that. A slider that starts out looking like a strike, breaks out of the zone, got Miller to chase. He had thrown all fastballs and then throws one slider. It was out of the strike zone when Miller offers at it. He goes too far, strikes out. He can't run to first base as it's occupied, and now we're a ground ball double play from getting out of it.
Well, are we going to play back for a double play, or do you bring your infield in?
I think you play back. You're at home. You play back for that double play.
And that's exactly what they're going to do. Ninth inning started when David Ortiz walked. Damian Jackson came in, stole second base, went to third on the throwing error by Geronimo Hill. Jason Giambi walked. First and third, one out for Kevin Millar. And there's that slider down and away. And if you're with us earlier, Millar 8 RBIs in 5 games. Came in and pinch hit for Trout Nixon in the 7th and walked.
That might not have been the best pitch for him to throw, because you talked about it being most effective when it's out of the strike zone.
1-0 pitch. There's another slider.
You want to throw that when you have the hitter in a swing mode, when he's thinking about being aggressive and swinging.
Well, we saw Kevin Millar last night off of Sidney Ponson dump a ball into right field, and his approach was, even though he won that game in Tampa Bay with a home run in the 16th, he's going to hit the ball the other way.
Yeah, he's a pro hitter, and he is thinking about hitting something deep enough to score this guy from third.
So tying run at third, go ahead run at first. Fastball. Geronimo Hill tried to frame it for John Hirschbeck. Tell you one thing, as we look at this game, John Hirschbeck has done a terrific job today. Very consistent behind the plate.
Yeah.
You know, usually they said that he had pretty ample strike zone, but today very fair for both the hitters and the pitchers. Not a lot of looks or controversy at all. There's your fastball for a strike. 3-1.
He is one of the more senior umpires in baseball, and always a hard worker and a guy that commands a lot of respect. Had a good day today.
So the 3-1 pitch to Kevin Millar. Slider, nice block by Geronimo Hill. Going to load him up.
May have been a game-saving block. That was a nasty slider in the dirt, and Rick Dempsey's done an awful lot of work with both of his catchers, and he wants the catchers to go to both knees, and watch the effort. He slides out, plays his chest protector very effectively, and keeps the ball right there at home plate.
So 3 walks. This inning by Jorge Julio. The Orioles closer came in. As we mentioned, there's Rick Dempsey, who worked so hard, not only with Geronimo Hill, but Brook Fordyce, and trying to quicken up his throwing mechanisms. So Varitek on the afternoon, he's grounded out, and he's walked, and he grounded out again. 0 for 2. Ooh, great fastball outside corner. Varitek lifetime against Julio, 2 for 4. You never would have known it from that swing.
Conine is in front of the runner. If he gets a ball, he'll go home.
There's another strike outside corner. So Jorge Julio needs a strikeout, a pop-up double play ball. Tying run at third, go ahead run at second. Third run down at first for the Red Sox. 1-0. Done a terrific game here at Camden Yards. Flicks it foul.
Boy, has it ever. It was all started by a couple of good pitchers. A great pitcher and a good young pitcher. Pedro Martinez was outstanding. Jason Johnson matched him pitch for pitch.
Once again, the 0-2 pitch. Fastball struck him out. Big, huge strikeout by Jorge Julio.
One of the hottest hitters in baseball goes down. Julio came right at Varitek, got ahead of him 0-2, and took charge. Finishes off the at-bat. Good fastball right by him.
Well, this has been an inning of contrast. 3 walks, 2 strikeouts.
That's why managers get gray hair.
Well, I'm sitting next to one, or at least Johnny Damon trying to put the Red Sox ahead, or at least tie it up. Johnny 0 for 4. He's lined out a couple of times, struck out and grounded out. Hitting at 167. Strike 1. Ball 1. 1-1. Bases loaded. No place to put Damon for Jorge Julio. Jackson at third. Giambi at second. Millar at first. And there are the lifetime numbers. Damon versus Julio. Ball 2. And Mike Hargrove, kind of like Bill Cosby, looking for some answers down on the floor. Bill Cosby once said, you know, some people, when you ask them a question, they look up. Some people, they look down. Mike's looking down.
You do everything by the book. You get your closer into a 1-0 game, and he walks 3 guys in the ninth to load the bases.
2-1 pitch. Ball 3. Pretty nice eye by Johnny Damon.
It'll probably take another one. 3-1.
Well, you got to aim this ball right in the middle, and actually with that kind of stuff, hope it goes there. Walked him, not even close. Tie ball game.
Well, he got out the hottest guy in the lineup in Jason Varitek, and then walked the leadoff guy who started this game hitting 200.
And Mike Hargrove with the left-hander at the plate, Todd Walker. He's going to go to the bullpen and get B.J. Ryan.
Mike Hargrove reluctantly goes to the mound in the ninth, but look at, he's got a pat on the back for Julio. Says, don't worry, Jorge, there'll be better days, and that's a good sign. He knows Julio's going to be here for a long time, and he's a young guy just getting used to a very difficult role. So 4 walks in the inning, 2 strikeouts, a very frustrating day for Jorge Julio, but Mike Hargrove, knowing that down the road this guy is going to possibly develop into somebody that you can count on day in and day out, kind of giving him some encouraging words before he leaves.
So B.J. Ryan, you can see he's been in 3 games, all in the Cleveland Indian games. So tough situation right here. And Grady Little's going to send up a pinch hitter. Todd Walker is going to leave, and Shea Hillenbrand going to come up and hit against B.J. Ryan. First pitch slider. Hillenbrand 1 for 3 lifetime, only 3 at bats.
Hillenbrand had played every inning of the Red Sox season until today. Got a day off. We talked about Little giving an opportunity to everyone to get in the game, so it's not as if Hillenbrand's been sitting around and not swinging a bat. He has gotten off to a great start with 9 RBI.
0-1 pitch. There's a fastball. B.J. Ryan quickly ahead. 0-2. The Red Sox, via the 4 base on balls, have tied it up here in the ninth. Jason Johnson went 6 in the third. And Buddy Groom, an inning in the third. Rick Bauer pitched well.
Got the head out.
Well, he can do that.
He hit that over the Orioles dugout into the upper deck.
Well, he's a pretty good hitter. 18 home runs last year, up from 12 his rookie year. 293 hitter. Once again, 0-2 pitch struck him out. Terrific slider by G.J. Ryan. Saves the Orioles tie ball game with the O's coming up at the bottom of the ninth. Jim Palmer and Buck Martinez, 1-1 ball game. Red Sox coming back with a run in the ninth to tie it, and Hillenbrand striking out off of B.J. Ryan. He'll go down to first base. Damian Jackson, who came in to pinch run for David Ortiz, he'll play second base. He scored the only Red Sox run. And a new pitcher, Chad Fox. Well, we saw him warming up last night feverishly as the Orioles came back and put it 4 runs and 6 hits in the ninth inning.
Chad Fox working in his 3rd game of the season. He signed in December a year ago as a free agent. Pitched the last couple of years in Milwaukee.
First pitch fastball to Gary Matthews Jr. So the Orioles Well, they thought they were going to have to get a good pitch game from Jason Johnson, and they certainly did, and tried to win this 1-0, but a chance to win it here in the bottom of the ninth. Pedro Martinez, he pitches 8 innings, only gives up 1 run on 4 hits. The triple by Hairston, infield out by Gary Matthews Jr. scored the only Orioles run. 92 pitches, 64 strikes.
How about Pedro? 15 innings pitched, 7 hits, 2 no decisions.
Well, he was looking at a loss, so I'm sure he's not happy, but what can you do?
Boy, he is some kind of pitcher.
And all you got to do is go out there and do that the rest of the year. He's going to win a bunch of games, isn't he? In the air, center field. Should be plenty of room for Johnny Damon. Well, this afternoon, this game started at 1:30. It's 10 after 4. It was kind of dreary and a little bit of a drizzle. Light rain earlier on in the morning, and it looks like it's clearing.
Sun trying to break through here late afternoon.
So 1 up and 1 down. B.J. Surhoff singled his first time up. First Oriole with a base hit off of Pedro Martinez this afternoon. Well, we got a lot of depth in this Red Sox bullpen. Don't have a closer per se. Last year it was Urbina with 40 saves. This year they got Alan Embry. We saw him last night. Bob Howry, Brandon Lyons going to do some pitching. We saw Mendoza. There's a strike to BJ. Mike Timblin.
Pretty good arms down there, but no one that really stepped up yet. And Grady Little says, oh, the smoke will clear, and we'll see. Somebody will end up leading the pack, but right now it's a committee effort.
2-1 pitch. There's ball 3. Well, BJ doesn't hit a whole lot of home runs, but he's been around long enough to, in this case, Buck, look for a pitch inside middle. If he gets it, maybe turn on one. Nothing like a walk-off home run, but he's going to walk. Well, there's your go-ahead run, your winning run at first. As Jeff Conine steps to the plate.
Well, the Orioles certainly right where they want to be with their lineup. And got the heart of the order up. Melvin Moore is going to come on at first base as a pinch runner. Takes over for B.J. Surhoff.
Well, so if you're Mike Hargrove, you send out Melvin. Stole 15 bases last year. In fact, most of them came the first 4 months of the season, and did hit well late. Was thinking more like going downtown Charlie Brown, but he can steal a base.
Veritek has not thrown well so far this year.
Good slider. All the scouts tell me Chad Fox has got a nasty, pretty good breaking ball right there.
Slider that disappears. Tight spin, good tilt to it, breaks down and away very late.
Fox ahead of Conine. 0-1. Fastball ripped into the corner. It's going to be fair. Here comes Moore. Coming around second into third. Conine in with a stand-up double.
That could have been interesting once it got down into the corner. Conine rips it down the left field line. His second double of the season. Pinch runner Melvin Moore hustling around the bases. Manny Ramirez, the left fielder, goes into the corner, and watch how he slows down and calmly waits for the ball to come to him. You get too aggressive in that corner, it bounces by you, the game is over.
Well, this bullpen, and then we're going to see what they're going to do with Jay Gibbons stepping in play. It looks like they're going to intentionally walk them. Tony Batista on deck. But this bullpen in 23 2/3 innings has given up 16 runs.
And you know what? That is demoralizing to a team. If you score a bunch of runs and you see the lead vanish late in the game, if you have a close ball game and your bullpen coughs it up, you know, the pitchers get down, the hitters get down. It's tough.
Well, it goes back to that comment. As we look at the skipper of the Red Sox, Grady Little. And we're going to see how they play it. Grady Little coming out to have a little conversation. Former catcher who took over for the Red Sox in spring training last season. Joe Kerrigan went into the 2002 season as the former pitching coach, managed the last 36 games or something of 2001. And John Henry, Tom Werner, Larry Lucchino, the president, decided they were going to make a managerial change. And Brady went on. They won 93 games. So I guess this is about the defense. How are we going to play it?
Yeah, they want to talk things over. Batista, certainly a candidate for the double play because he doesn't run well and hits the ball sharply. So it looks as though they're going to play it in.
Yeah, set up the force at home. So Tony Batista, 4 base hits just last night.
Well, they're bringing the outfield way in.
And there's the slider. That would be a very effective pitch. And of course, the outfield's going to play, Buck. They're going to play just shallow enough where they can catch a line drive and throw out the runner third.
Yeah, you can't play any deeper than your range with your arm.
So Moore at third. He represents the winning run. 2-0 to Tony Batista. Let's see if Fox has got to throw him a fastball.
Tony, all he has to do is get one to the outfield. Moore, the pinch runner with good speed at third. He's the only runner that matters.
Yeah, Batista last year, 2002 season, 3-game winning situations like this. 2-0 pitch, ball 3. Well, Jorge Julio with a 1-run lead, walked 4 in the 9th. Red Sox tied it. A little different scenario. Walk to Surhoff, double by Conine, intentional walk to Gibbons.
We have seen both ends of the pitching spectrum.
Do you take 2 pitches here?
You take 2, more than likely.
We know he's taken 3-0. And there's a strike. I got to let him swing.
Yeah,
here.
you let him swing in this situation because he's really been swinging the bat well. Had 4 hits in the game last night.
Well, classic confrontation. Fastball hitter's probably going to get a fastball.
He was taking, and that was down around the knees.
Well, the base is still loaded. 3-2 count now. Fox has been able to locate the strike zone. 2 consecutive pitches. 3-2 pitch. Winning run at third. And Tony Batista.
Battled a tough pitch, didn't he? Down and away. Got a lot of body into it so he could go down and really fight it off.
Well, the Orioles fans are on their feet, and a lot of Red Sox fans here, they're sitting down. They've seen this before. Once again, 3-2 pitch. Bases loaded. Only 1 out. Walked him. Orioles win.
A walk-off walk.
So what a 9th inning. The Orioles walk 4. The Red Sox walk 3. And the Orioles even up this series at 1 game apiece, winning this one 2-1. And the Orioles take advantage of the Red Sox bullpen that has not been very good in this 2003 season. Here it is again, Buck.
Tony Batista, a notorious free swinger, took 2 pitches to get it to 3-2. The fastball inside. Melvin Moore comes in to score the winning run.
Well, we'll be back with more from Camden Yards as the Orioles win for the 2nd time. Their record now 2-3.